Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here for Magic is Real. This is the podcast where we talk about all things metaphysical and spiritual with a focus on near death experiences and other spiritually transformative experiences. We also talk about spiritual healing and all of the beautiful insights that come from these spiritual experiences. I'm so honored and happy to have with me today my new friend, Kara Vonder. She is tuning in from France, a place that is very dear to my heart. And Kara is a near death experiencer and a very talented artist and a mother. She is here to share with us about her experience and, more importantly, the insights that she's gleaned, the way she lives her life. We're going to talk about all of it. Kara, I'm so happy to meet you and have you with me today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Shannon. I'm so excited too.
So, you are from North Carolina. You're from
Yes.
the mountains of North Carolina, a place that is also dear to my heart. And I'd love to hear about your background as it pertains to your spiritual journey. Did you grow up spiritual? Did you not grow up spiritual? What was your experience?
I think I definitely I definitely always had a connection with the other side. The community that I grew up in is very religious. And so I always connected to God, to the universe, to prayer. My grandmother, she was Native American and she taught me a lot about the plants and the forest and dreams. And so I had those two sides always in me. And then myself, I was always with imaginary friends, or I've had vivid dreams since always. And I just kind of thought everyone was like that growing up. So I thank you for asking. I guess I always have been spiritual. I've connected always to the other side. Even as a little girl, before going to bed tonight, I would look up at the stars and just, I loved that period, like right before falling asleep when it was silent. I could just connect completely to my spirit, to other spirits. I had a friend that died at a young age. He died when I was probably 5 or 6, and that was really hard. But at that age, I still played with him, like I still talk to him as an imaginary friend, and I have some. I could get into that later or another time, but yeah, I have like some very vivid memories of his spirit and being with him. So that shaped me. I think as I got older, I kind of closed that out. Like I can remember in elementary school, like being the last person with an imaginary friend and getting made fun of and just never just shutting it down. Like I think I'm a Taurus and I'm Aries moon and I'm very stubborn. So I think there was a period where I absolutely shut it down. And looking back, I feel like my teenage years, it did maybe even lead me to a depression because I was so cut off from that aspect of myself. And then I had my near death experience at 16, which just, it gave me, I think, the moment that led up to that experience, my heart was completely closed and my heart literally stopped in the experience. And when it stopped and when I left my body, it showed me something that, the world completely different. And I saw that we are spirits. I saw everyone with the light around them and the trees with the light around them. So I think for me, maybe the invisible became visible. Um, and after that, it's just a part of me. So yes, I
Yeah,
think I have always been spiritual,
that's
but
beautiful. I
I
find a
never
lot of
thought about it until
people,
that question.
yeah, I find a lot of people who've had near death experiences already had abilities, heightened abilities as a child, and often had shut them down because, at least in our culture,
Yeah.
you had Native American culture, which is, I feel like the Native Americans had it right all along, and I find it so devastating that that was colonized and taken away from all of us, even just humanity. But so I know you had that, but I think just culturally in America, it isn't very, we're very logic based,
Mhm.
very science based. And I'm happy to see that we are turning a bit of a corner where more and more people are starting to awaken to the fact that two things can be true, that we can have science and we can have spirituality, and that they actually are the one and the same. But I do find that a lot of people were reawakened by the near death experience, and that was not an
Wow.
accident or a mistake. So, as we
Wow.
talk about your near death experience, I'd love to know too, do you feel like that's, I don't want to say chosen, but that this was very intentional? There was a reason why you had a near death experience, I believe, and I would assume that you do too, but I'd love to hear your individual thoughts on that.
Wow. You're the first person I've ever heard say that. And 100%. It's so I 100% believe that's true. And I've had other experience that that not out of my body, but I don't know if you've had experience like this where I did come face to face with death, but not like actually died.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that happened, it's exactly right. You're exactly right. Like I can look back and see it was a time where I was completely shut off and maybe lost, or like sometimes I think of it like you're driving on a road and you go off on the side
Yeah.
and whatever happens, but it pulls you back onto maybe another path or onto a different way. Maybe we went off that path for a reason. That was the reason. And 100, I think you're completely
I
right. I
think
don't know many other near death experience. I've only met one other person with near death experience, and I've only listened to maybe one or two interviews. But I know you're really the expert on this, and I love that finding.
I
It's,
would
it's
say that's true
funny.
at this point. And you had expressed to me before that because you live in France, it's just not a very spiritual culture, at least not the
Mm,
way that we look at it. It's more, I would say, I lived there, and so this is from my own experience, but
mm.
more secular or more religious, depending on the person and how they were raised. So you haven't
Yeah,
had as much exposure to the whole world of it.
yeah,
So would you mind sharing about your NDE when you were 16?
yeah. I would love to. So, where to start? So, when I was 16, I played on a soccer team. Like I played with the same girls since we were, 7 years old, 7 to 16. And we played year round, and we were on our way to state playoffs, like the game before state playoffs. And it was right before halftime, and the sweeper, I was the left fullback. I don't know if you know soccer, but she was not far from me. It was raining, and she meant to kick the ball across the field, but it spun and it hit me directly in the left temple. I don't. And my dad said that the force was so intense that it went up and over the stadium lights. But for me, I looked, and there was a girl coming running towards me. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I just fell, and I instantly was out of my body. And I now I know that my heart stopped. It was the blow to the head that created, yeah, my heart to stop. And anyway, so I was instantly above the whole scene. And what I saw there is just like, again, I don't know if everyone who's had a near death experience feels like this, but it's so vivid. It's not even like a memory. It's like I can access that I draw, I paint it, I write about it constantly. Like I can access that anytime. And it was just so pure and so real. And in my body, I was very angry. I was depressed. I had an eating disorder. My parents were divorcing, and I don't want to blame anything on them because they're amazing parents and it's what needed to happen. But in my 16-year-old body, I wanted to die, honestly. Like I am the oldest daughter. My brothers are like so precious to me. And I thought for some reason that dying, I don't know, it was just like an anger like to the universe, like I want to die. I'm fed up. I can't do this anymore. I think I was very much like a good girl. I would paint my face every day, like spend hours in front of the mirror trying to be pretty and wearing really bright clothes. And I was homecoming queen. Like I was so nice to everyone. But I had a complete other side that it's like I had lost that spiritual girl that I was talking about in the beginning, and I had created like a mask, like a robot that was like my avatar every day, like trying to just say the right things, trying to be the right things, trying to do the right things. So as much as I want to blame like my parents and all the factors in, like I was dead inside already, and I wanted to die. So I'll share like what the whole experience being out of my body was like because it was so amazing. But first, just the physical part is when I came back to my body, like after about 7 minutes, my first thought was, how did I do that? Because I wanted to die. Like I don't remember exactly how like long it was, but maybe a week before I had had this very vivid, I was like, I haven't shared this really, but I was even like taking pills sometimes, trying to like not commit suicide, but just really gain attention. And I was just 16 and totally lost. But when it happened, like when I actually did go out of my body, it was completely out of my control. And it was nothing that I wanted. I mean, it felt like murder to my 16-year-old reputation. It was like soccer was everything to me. But my first thought was, how did I do that? So, and it was like, I grew up in this religious community. Like, you don't talk about stuff like that. Like, this is not okay. That was a secret I did not want anyone to know. So, I was obsessed with learning about the brain, with learning about the mind, with learning about understanding like the thoughts, because to me that was all like I was diagnosed with a little brain damage after, but it's all my brain could think about was like, how did I do that? Like that was like that was something that I asked for, because maybe it was a time too where I'd stopped believing in love and I'd stopped believing in spirituality and I'd stopped believing that actually maybe we're a part of something bigger. And then it was just so obvious, it was like, wow, somebody's actually hearing like what I want. And I really wanted that. And then it happened. So I had so much guilt, like years and years and years and years of guilt of like, I don't know why, but I just felt like I did this. And then everyone in my community just gave me a lot of attention because the accident was tragic. I was never allowed to play sports again. I was asked to wear a helmet, like to drive, which was never going to happen. But like, if I wanted to play sports again, I could wear a helmet, and I wasn't going to do that. But yeah, so it was a long road to recovery, it feels like, and to I'm 39 now, so years and years and years of healing and healing my body and my mind, but really following this string of understanding and meeting people like you and talking about how powerful we actually are. Um, yeah, so that's that piece of it. And then there
Yeah.
is the amazing experience of being out of the body.
Before we get into that, which I can't wait to hear, I just want to validate everything you said because you have shared that you haven't talked to a lot of other people with the experience and also just where you live. It's not something that is talked about
Mm,
maybe freely or at all.
yeah.
And so I just want to validate that everything you said is so, I don't want to say textbook because that sort of minimizes your special experience, but like in terms of so many people who are like, I don't want to be here anymore, please take me. They're often given a near death experience. Not everyone, obviously.
Wow.
I have chills. I just got chills, really big
Mm,
chills.
me too.
Oh my God. Wow. Huge angels.
Me too.
Wow. That's amazing. I still, they're still going. It's
Mm,
everything you said. It's God couldn't write a better screenplay. It's
Mm,
all, you were put here for a spiritual path. You wouldn't
mm,
have woken up to it had this not happened to you. And there needed to be some kind of the ball needed to hit you in just the right way
mm,
for you to, and you weren't meant to die. You were meant to have this spiritual experience so that you could
mm,
continue on. That's why you were given the gift of your Native American grandmother showing you the
mm,
spirituality of nature, etc. And then being stuffed into a box, which I relate with, which is not on purpose.
mm,
Our parents, same. My parents are the loves of my life. And it's not that they
mm,
do something wrong, it's that I was raised in a very waspy town, Westport, Connecticut. Like, you go to college, you get married, you have the kids, you get a house in
mm,
Fairfield, Connecticut. And it's you're the good girl, and you go along with the norms, and not even it just happens culturally, and that's great, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with it, except then we tend to shut off that part of ourselves that's the witchy side of ourselves, or the
mm,
spiritually aware and awake. So I'm validating that, and you speak to that if you like.
mm.
And
Thank you.
yeah, then feel free to just kind of roll into what that experience felt like to you. What was your experience?
Thank you so much for validating this. It is, yeah, it's something I've really kept. I did think for a long time I was the only person that had this experience, and for a while, I told a few friends, but it's people don't like talking about death. It's a very some people do, which I hope
Like
is
me?
is our audience would like
Yes.
you. I'm so happy to talk
Yeah.
to you because it's uncomfortable. And me at this place in my life, so now I'm 39, I have two daughters. I think when I moved to France, and I moved to France at 28, and I didn't speak French for years. You shared that you like just felt it and you just got into the language. Like me, it took me like 5 or 6 years to really get into speaking French. Like it took a long time. And but I would write. So I would just write constantly. Like I needed to express myself in my language because I don't live in Paris. I live 1 hour from the center of Paris, but in my city, no one speaks French. No one speaks English. So you have to do it like survival mode. Um, and anyway, so I just started writing, and the thing that was really coming every single time was going back to this near death experience. And as soon as I became a mother myself, I realized like, okay, do you want them to never share? Like what would you want for your daughters? Like what is your heart really saying? And I think I became face to face again with my own mortality, that I could die again. And like, are you really I can't die and not share what I saw and what I experienced because it is so vivid. I see people walking down the streets now, and I just want to scream to them, like, you're so much more than what you think you are. And sorry, I'm digressing, but
Can I just, actually, while you digress, I'll tell you, a friend of mine who suffers with major depressive disorder, he did 5-MeO, which is it's a frog toxin, but it's a DMT like experience. And he was actually an atheist, and he had this profound spiritual experience where he said, I realized that when I took the medicine, I realized every single molecule and grain of sand has a purpose. And he said, after that, I'm getting chills again. He said, now when I walk down the street, I just want to shout at everyone, do you know that you're a miracle? And so when you said that, I had to share that because he said it was like the same thing. He said he has to hold back from yelling at people to tell them,
oh,
do you know who you are?
oh my gosh, that's so
I
beautiful. Well, I
know.
connected so much with you because that's how I've been for my life, is like so much love to everyone. And I mean, I'm sure you're like this too, very open-hearted, and you get hurt, you get hurt, you get hurt. So then you learn like to close. And then when I moved to France, the culture, which I love the culture. I mean, it is a part of me now that I want to share with people because there's so many beautiful, there's not spirituality like we have in the US. I'm sure there's pockets of it. I haven't found it yet. I
Yeah.
know it exists. But the culture itself in France is so, like for example, yesterday we had a barbecue that started at 12:30, and you eat until like 6 at night. So, like we take our time. Like
Yes.
life is really, it's not just about like chasing the next carrot. It's about like being here and being present. And I feel like that's really like you're saying, like where the miracle is just here in the present moment. And the feelings that I experience in my near death experience, in my experience of death, I can access that most best in when I'm really present.
That's
So
beautiful insight.
yeah, there's something like that. It's like it's here. Everything is a miracle around us all the time. And I think either we're aware or we're not.
We
So
take it for granted. Whenever someone says, I don't argue with anyone who doesn't believe in this stuff.
yeah.
Stuff in my mind is reality to me, but I know it isn't
Mhm.
for everyone, and it wasn't always to me. So I don't judge anybody. I was an atheist. I don't judge anyone, and everyone has their own path. However, I will say that if anyone, my mom always said, and she's not religious either, she said, if you ever doubt the presence of God, just look at a flower. And
Mm.
the thing is that we're like, oh, all that stuff's, my dad called it like hogwash or something. I once took a picture while we were in Virginia, and this massive, might have been a lens flare, but it looked like a gigantic purple orb in my picture. I've never seen a lens flare like that. And we were at a very historical George Washington natural bridge. Native Americans were all over that land. And I was like, my dad goes, "What is that in the picture?" I said, "It's spirit." And I said, there are spirits everywhere. He said, "Ah, that's hogwash." Well, for those that say it's hogwash, look around you. That plant next to you, the fact that we have intelligence to build computers, the fact that the sky, the
Mm.
clouds, the universe, the galaxies, cars, all of this, we're like, yeah, a computer. We take for granted. But how did it get here? Okay,
Mm.
human design, but how did humans even develop the intelligence to be able to create, to build a building, architecture, but also just the beauty of nature, the magic of nature, reproduction? Wait, so
Mm.
what do you mean we mate and then we create? I've seen picture of at least one of your daughters. This beautiful human came from your husband and you, and molecules and cells that joined together and created a whole person. That is a miracle. Like, how do you,
Mm.
and someone might argue, yeah, science. Well, yeah, but where did science come from? I mean, science in itself is miraculous. Physics, quantum physics, all of it. That is spirituality. Like, that is, why are we taking this for granted? A shooting star.
Yeah.
How did we even get here? Like,
Yeah.
the Big
Yeah.
Bang, but where did the Big Bang come from? It's like, so
Yeah.
I'm not trying to argue, but the fact that the universe expands infinitely, what do you mean?
Mm.
It's just, you can't, so it's all a miracle. It's all
Oh,
incredible.
miracle. Yeah. It's so true. And I love the quote that says, either, who is it? I'm sure you'll know this. Either everything is a miracle or nothing is.
Yeah.
There's a quote like that. Like
I
either you look, and maybe we're all kind of in the middle. Sometimes it's like very obvious, like, oh yeah, that was meant to be, like connecting with you. Like we had such a connection, like that's meant to be. But sometimes it's not obvious. It's not obvious when someone hits your car, or it's not obvious when you lose your job or when you're struggling. Like that's not obvious, but that is too. That was very clear in my near experience. Like that too is a miracle. Like all of it is. Like every
Yeah.
single little piece.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's I believe there's nothing like it's like the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, like the photo of around you, the galaxies, like there's dark, there's light, like it's all a miracle. It's all, I don't know, it's all magic. Like your
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah,
It's so good.
that's why I picked that name, because as someone who grew up pretty logical,
Mhm.
with very logical parent. My mom is a medium, but she doesn't practice it, or talk about
Mhm.
it. It just is. She's just had experiences throughout her life, and yet I still grew up in this very yeah, like I say, it's like a waspy environment. And my dad's a
Mhm.
businessman, and my mom was a homemaker, and it's like we have very traditional, not religious. We weren't religious at all, values, and it's just what I was brought up in. And we go to get an education, we go to college, we
Mhm.
think with our minds, and so now I'd love to hear you're hit with a you're hit you're hit with a soccer ball, and what's the next thing you remember?
Yeah, so I was instant out of my body, like instant, like that. And I was watching everyone, watching the scenes, so I can see the fields, like I can see myself in the middle, and then my teammates huddled around me. So they were all huddled around me, probably praying because it was a part of our culture. Everyone was scared. I was being defibrillated and nothing was working. Apparently, I didn't see any of that. But what I saw was everyone had a light around them that looked similar to a candle. I saw everyone with these big, 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 stunning, beautiful lights. And my body was more like a wick. So my light was not there because I was, watching everyone. And I was just, I just was looking down at them like in awe, like in like, my God, look how beautiful they are. And so I was completely fascinated with the lights of each person, with the energy of each person, with how stunningly, amazingly beautiful the scene was. I was just like floating in love, 100% love. And then I started focusing in on my parents, who I was angry at. 16-year-old, like Taurus anger, so much anger in my body, out of my body. Oh, oh my God. Like they were so beautiful,
Mhm.
stunningly beautiful. Like their lights, the way they moved, the colors. Like, I mean, I was just like, oh, like, just like in a state of just awe, like so much love. And I just kind of floated around and watched. I saw the trees, like the trees were above us. This is the mountains of North Carolina. The trees, oh my God, they were like the people, I would say our energy, like I believe now each of us has this light that goes up and over our bodies. And like as high as outside of, I can show you if you want, but outside of my window, there's these big, beautiful buildings. So the people's energy, like the people walking on the street, it's as high as the buildings. But the trees, they're like, oh my God. I mean, like, it's just, I think science can probably prove now, like the what trees actually do for humans. But in my experience was like, I mean, they're insanely amazing. Their energy like would go as high as the mountains, I would say, like as big as the mountains. And I didn't have any thoughts. The only thought that I had was, oh my God, they love me. Like it was just like so much love. And it felt like swimming in that, like just constant love, like no barriers to love. I think out of our bodies, we are just us. It was the same me that I am now, the same me that I was as a kid, the same me that came into the world. Like me, I was there. Everyone's looking at my body, like nobody was aware that I was there. I was up here, somewhere else. So that 100, I know what you were saying earlier about spirits. Like to me, I can't argue with anyone because it's not worth our time, but like I was there, nobody was looking at me. They had no idea. So when I meet people like you, I'm just in awe and in love because it's the truth, like it's the truth. Like I feel really lucky I came back to my body. And I get to share this now because there's so many around us that can't. And I do always feel like I have this like pressure now, maybe because it's the time, maybe, like I believe that everything inside of us is kind of a seed, like sometimes, and there's like a long stage, but sometimes we pop like a flower and it's time to share that. And I feel like really like the seed is pushing through in my life, right? And I have these like whispers in my ear that are like, share, 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 share. People need to know how extraordinary they are because it's not just one of us with this light. It's not just a good person with this light. It's not just someone that's done this and this and this and this. It's everyone. Like we're all just immaculate in our auras, our energy, our who we are, our lights are. It was 100% clear. So often I draw it or I write about it. That's what I saw really clearly. And then I came back to my body, and it was like such a contrast. It was That's a big piece of it. It was like I was floating in love, like being in the bathtub, and then coming back to like in the ambulance, being defibrillated, like bright lights in my eyes. Just, you know, probably shaking, like lots of physical pain and physical, like the opposite feeling of that. Maybe that's the yin and the yang, was the opposite feeling of that pure love coming back to my body instantly. And I wanted to go back and I did. So my next memory is I was in the hospital room, and my little brother, who was had children, he was probably like 7 or 8 at the time, and he was kneeling beside my bed. Like I can see him kneeling beside my bed, like praying. And I heard him, so I don't know if he said it out loud or if I can hear his thoughts, which is another piece of understanding but I heard him say, Sissy, please don't die. And I came right back, like instantly back to my body, back to my heart. And I haven't left since. So that was the big piece of it. I mean, there's so many aspects, it feels like I often think it's like I'm writing a book. I know you're writing a book too.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book. I think I'll have many books, but to really share this experience. And it often feels like visiting another country or, like another place. So there's so many little different aspects and pieces and feelings. But the biggest takeaway, I think, is like just complete love and bliss and pure. Like, so since then, my goal has been to, like I said earlier, understand the brain, because I came back like, how did I do this? And I didn't tell anyone. So I was obsessed with just understanding the brain and the mind and the spirit. I didn't ever look for or know other near-death experiences because I didn't know anyone else even had that. But plus mine was it was just so evident, but I wanted to understand, like, how did I cause that? How did my brain cause that? What is my body? Healing my body, which brought me to yoga at a young age of 20. And yoga was a huge, huge healer for me because it allowed me to access those same types of bliss and those same types of feeling. And when I could access that, I could teach others how to. And that was really, I think whatever we suffer through, we want to help others do. Um, but I was just obsessed with teaching anyone I could. And then in those teachings, it was also an avenue for me to kind of share my experience a little bit. Like, at the end, I could talk about death and talk about our bodies as corpse and how we are not our bodies and how we are so much more than that. And my passion really just became, and still is, it's just helping people get out of their own way, get out of their minds, and just tune into who they truly are and like what they want to do here. Because for a long time, I was really into manifestation and like, what dreams do you want to have? But now I feel like it's more like just showing up as your purest light, your most authentic self in this moment. How to do that, like you were saying earlier, how to let yourself be seen and let yourself expand and let yourself be that light. Because we often, the way I see it is like, I can see, the posture people, I guess, through yoga. Like I've noticed, people walking on the streets, like, and now with the phones,
Yeah.
with phones, everyone's like head down looking, walking on the street. And I just feel like we're just like physically not aligned to that, and maybe if physically, I don't know, because if you look at a wick, if it's kind of turned like this, it's not able to like fully access its full light. So I don't know. There's lots of pieces to it, but really just to help anyone realize like you're so much more than what you think you are. And that's just what you're born as. You don't have to you don't have to do anything else but just, I guess, become aware of, like, continue to become aware of that, and continue to become purer and purer, like, as not purity as we're taught, but just like truer and truer to your own core and your own self.
As you were saying that, a spirit guide, angel, I don't know who it is, just came around. Normally I get spirit, like if it's a loved one, it's usually on the right side. If it's a like higher ascended being, it's on my left side where I start to get tingles like someone's touching my head. As you were saying it, I just got somebody moved in, somebody moved close to validate what you're saying. And there was a feeling of, even though this is coming from you in your heart, it's also being channeled. It's also that you're right on. I also love yoga. I haven't been in practice recently for no reason other than just other priorities, but there was a time I did it every day. And I love to go to classes because of the energy in the room. I will do it at home, but I love to be in the room with other people. And I've thought about that. It's a moving meditation where we're
Yeah.
allowing ourselves to be. I'd love to hear your thoughts too on that, why it is not just relaxing. It's good for our nervous system. We're focusing on something other than our worries and our stress because you're focusing on holding a pose, which so that becomes a meditation. Therefore, we're still. Even if we're moving, there's a stillness in yoga where you're holding a posture. And so all of your focus is going into that. Therefore, you're getting out of your own thinking brain. I remember uh, I have muscle tension dysphonia, which took me out of my voiceover career for a long time. I was doing a lot of yoga because it's a relaxation. And I was in a support group where the guy who was running it is, I believe he was Coptic Christian. I think he, if I'm not mistaken, but he said, "Oh, and to us, we're not in my religion. We're not." I don't want to quote the religion because I might have been wrong about that. Whatever his religion was, he said we're not allowed to do yoga. We consider it to be. I don't know if it's necessarily of the devil, but to me, again, I don't want to come off as judgy, but my judgment is, or my thought is, it's because they don't want you to know your own power.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want you to discover that you don't need a church, a preacher. Those things can be really lovely and helpful, but the church, in the institutional sense, that was in back in the day, was to hold us down and say we are the ultimate power. You don't have power. You are a peon. You are beneath. And through yoga, we can become enlightened. Sometimes it's just a stretch. Sometimes
Yeah.
if you really get deep into it, it opens up that third eye. It opens up that perception of your higher self. What are your thoughts on that?
That's so beautiful. I agree completely. Yeah, I think you're right. It is a physical practice. So like our bodies, for me, I really wanted to get back again to the near death experience, back to that place
Yeah.
of love and light. And I was always kind of searching for that. Um, and yoga was a physical way that I could get there. And it took some time. It took, like, I read this book, I don't remember who wrote it, but she said, practice every day. Like, we're habitual creatures, and like to start a new habit, like practice every day for 6 weeks. And I was desperate. So I did it. I was like, okay, I really want to reconnect to these feelings, to connect to that. And so I just I just started with a small practice of just, child's pose in the morning. Like I came from this really prayer background. So I would say my prayers, like this is what I'm worried about, this is what I'm stressed about, and then, and then move on. And then gradually it built. And then throughout the years it changed. But the science, you're right. I also the book taught me so much about that yoga is also a science. It's been practiced for so long, and it is all like just, I don't know, it is body, mind, spirit. So it is a physical way to connect to your spirit, so you can feel those feelings. I think now I do a lot less yoga now. I'm teaching a class in French this summer. And then I usually go to North Carolina and teach a class once a year. And maybe I'll start doing retreats more and more, or online classes or something. But I love teaching yoga, and I still 100% believe in the power of yoga. But like you, maybe, I don't know, because since you haven't practiced as much as usual, my life has evolved too. Like now I I still try to practice, daily at least a little bit, just to um unblock my chakras, unblock my I think like the light, which is out now, but I think we have the chakras make a lot of sense to me, and when we're, like if our posture is like this, if we just kind of like realign ourselves, like we can open ourselves up to that channel of energy, like you so beautifully expressed. Like that's always my goal, is to be a channel um, of the highest good, of the highest beauty, of the highest truth, of spirit. And yoga is just like direct access to that, I feel like. But as I'm evolving in my own life, in my own ways, in motherhood, in living in France, in not having any as much time as I would like, maybe, um, I'm trying to access that more in daily activities, like washing the dishes
Mm-hmm.
or cleaning the floor or walking. Like, how can we just access that all the time? So I still love the yoga practice so much, and it will always be a piece of me. But also, I've met plenty of people who are deeply spiritual and deeply connected that don't like yoga. So it's not the one way. I think there's many different, 1,000,000,000,000,000,000, maybe we each have so many different routes to reconnect with our spirit. Um,
It could be
but
a walk
it's
outside.
a
It could be
walk.
a walk outside.
Yeah.
I agree that I was going to say it's not necessarily the magic of the poses, or it's not yoga itself inherently is magic. It's
Mhm.
any kind of practice in which you're being present and mindful. And
Mhm.
I've been doing that too. I hate washing the dishes.
Mhm.
I hate it. It's my least favorite task other than cleaning the toilet, because I don't like the food gunk, and I don't like it just grosses me out, and also it's never ending. But so lately I've been doing this thing where I don't put on any music, I don't put on any podcast. I just practice presence while I'm washing the dishes. Practice being
Wow.
asking spirit, like, just be with me right now. Just let me, instead of going, oh, this is so boring, or like, it's just, what if it isn't? What if it's just a moment to meditate? What if this is an opportunity
Mhm.
to meditate? I'm also, I'm a nanny on and off. And when I was a nanny, my little
Mhm.
girl, I say, she's my surrogate little, I'm her, I don't know, auntie, sharing parental duties with her parents.
Mhm.
She was only 5 months older, I think, when I started. So, from having kids, that they don't get really fun until, like, they're just little blobs. Like, they're cute, but it's like they just kind of lay
Mhm.
there. And your job is to just stimulate them, feed them, put them. So I would use her as I'm with her for 8 hours, maybe. How do I keep myself from getting bored? Meditating.
Mhm.
Like, not meditating in terms of checking out, but being
Yeah.
present with her. Like, we might be like, okay, like singing a song to her, rattling a little rattle, showing her toys, and she's just sitting there flailing around. She's not able to interact yet. That can be really boring for a long, long period of time. And maybe if it's your kid, you're looking at them in wonder the whole day. But
Yeah,
I had to
totally.
kind of say, all right, let's make this an opportunity to just be okay with nothing, just be okay with the stillness, be okay with
Mm.
watching her little toe wiggle or and her dad said, I don't know how you do this. Like, I come in and you're just, I'm like, because I put myself into a state of appreciating the stillness and the moment and just like every little movement. And I have ADHD, so it's hard, but it was also good for me
Yeah.
and good for the baby. But mostly,
Mm.
you know, you want it to be good for the kid. But there's so many ways that we can be in stillness. So I'd love to know. I think in your normal life, going day to day, you're a busy mom because any mother is busy, any parent is busy. How does this awareness of spirituality now affect all of the moments of your life? Even just being on the metro or whatever it is you're doing, or if you're in your car,
Mm.
how do you see the world now and go
Mm.
through it? And do you still see light around people?
Mm. That's so beautiful. Yes, I do. Not with my like, not
Yeah,
like how you imagine, like
right.
not like but yes, I can. I look down, like I was telling you, I look out my window and I see people walking every day. And where I live, there's lots of refugees too. I don't know if you know that about France, but it's it's changed a lot since you were here.
Yeah, it's been 20
Um,
something years.
yeah, my daughters, like for example, their school in the center of the city, they have like over 40, 50 different countries that are there. So there's lots of different types of people and lots of people that are stressed and worried. And there are some that they're not sure, they just escaped a really, really scary, awful situation. And I think like living with them, because before when I was in the US, it was like, I mean, in LA, I know you see that too. You like, I think when we're living with so many people that are lost and scared and suffering, um, it is hard to like say all is perfect. Life is beautiful. I've only shared like I did a podcast, which I think is how we connected
Yeah,
before, where I shared my near death experience in full. And there was like lots of comments. And one piece of it was that I saw that the world is paradise. Like from above, I saw that, I mean, oh, this planet that we're on is just like amazing, like the trees, the water, the plants, the everything goes together, like you were saying earlier, all the little miracles of everything. Like it was just so obvious. And I had some comments like, how can you say that when there's war, when there's hunger, when there's plants that give me allergies? Like, how can you say this is a paradise? So I know like there's both sides, and in our brains and in our minds and on our screens, we can see whatever we want. So lots of us see our past or see fears or whatever. So I get it. But I 100%, 1000% believe that each of us, the second we're out of our bodies, we're going to see that, like, wow, it was all good. Like even the worst moments, even the car crash, like even I don't want to say it lightly because I'm also scared of death. Like losing my daughters, losing my husband, like, I don't think I'm someone that's just going to be able to be okay. Like I feel like I could be like, again, go back to that depressive, suicidal state. Possibly. It's been since I was 16 that I was there, but I don't know. So I get why people are so scared of death, 1000%. And also at the same time, since I've been there and been back, like I know how amazing it is. I know how clear it's going to show that life itself is such a gift. Like this moment is such a gift. This person that is bothering you so bad, that is so annoying, they're a gift.
yeah,
Like everything is a gift. So I think this taught me that I can bounce back really fast, and I see the light in every person. So I get along really good with refugees. Like, obviously, I'm here for a reason. Um, I can't relate to them. I also left my country for 10 years, but I didn't leave it because I was fleeing a bad situation. I left it because I fell in love and I chose to move, and there were all the difficulties that came with it. But I don't know. I feel like whatever is going on in our own lives, like, it is for us. And it's the second that we can just get out of our brains and get back into our spirits, like, it will be obvious, right? Like, as soon as we're out of that, as soon as we are able to come back to ourselves, like, to turn on music and dance, to listen to a podcast that you like, to be totally present, like, whatever it takes to get you into that higher energy, into that higher state. I think that's the way I do it with my girls, because it is very hectic, and it is like, I wish I was zen and peaceful all the time, like it looks like I am on Instagram, but it's just not reality. And as much as you want to, like, I like to also really just try to share that, but we want to, like, see the bright and shiny stuff, or the opposite stuff, because we all want to be bright and shiny, and we are bright and shiny, but we're also dark, and we're also like the colors around you, the whole galaxy, we're all that. And life is all that. And I think the moment we can learn to slow down, to go with the flow of whatever's happening, to let go of all the shit that happened before us, and to really know who we are and why we're here. And that is just to, like, be present and to love whoever you're with as much as you can. Like, that's it. Like, love is love is the magic, I feel like. And love not in, like, a romantic kissy kissy way, but like love as in who we truly are, like, we are love, like, we are this energy, and we're experiencing these bodies for a short period of time. And it sucks to talk about death sometimes, but it's so powerful because it reminds us that we're not here forever. And yeah, I think also it reminds us of who we truly are. And that hurts because we're not used to it. It brings it out of our subconscious, because whether or not we're talking about death, like, it's still happening, it's still coming. And what a gift do we have, like, to be here on this earth right now. Like, we're so, so, so lucky. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe part of my mission is to help people wake up to that. It's just like, it's so easy to get stuck in, like, the shit that's going on in the world. And there is that 100%. But I don't know what you think, Shannon, but for me, when I actually, like, scroll and just, like, watch it, I feel like shit too.
Yeah.
And then I treat my kids like shit. And then I treat the neighbor like shit. And then I don't smile at anyone. But, like, if I can keep my energy high, if I can do whatever it is that only what it is that you need in that moment, like, moment by moment, if you can just tune into that, I think then you're just radiant. You are shining your light. You are walking through, you are sharing love, which is perhaps the purpose of us all.
That
So
was
did that
so
answer?
beautiful and honestly, usually I'll ask my guests at the end of the episode, what is it you want people to know? And I think you covered it already. I mean, I'll still ask you that in case there's anything you want to add, which I just say off the top of your head without thinking about it. What is it that you want people to know? Which that was a lot of it, but what else comes to mind?
I think, like, there's nothing to be afraid of. And whatever you want to do, go and do it. And this life is just, it's magic, like your podcast. It really is. And whatever happened to you before that was bad, like, I believe that's fuel. So that is like that's your fuel. As soon as you can just shift the way that you're viewing that, or come out of your body and get a higher perspective, maybe, like, even imagining yourself, like, in Shavasana, often I'll have people, just try to just lift out of their body a little bit and see if they can experience a similar thing, because I like to do that, just, like, kind of see yourself above, or, like, through meditation, like, bring yourself a little higher.
Yeah.
Or even on an airplane, sometimes you can do that, like, just, and also astronauts. So this is such a beautiful thing is astronauts, when they're looking down on the earth, they come back to earth and they feel that same as the near as what I felt in my near death experience. They feel that same awe and like, oh, this planet is so amazing. And when they come back, they just want to share that, like how lucky we are to be here. So like if you're still here, we're so lucky. Like we're really lucky. And the it's not about chasing the next carrot or doing the next goal or my dream is to have an agent and a traditional book contract and all these things. Like sometimes I get stuck in that. Like my life will be better then, but that's not the truth. Like the magic is here, I think, in the moment, in doing the dishes, in just the I feel like do spirits tell you that? I feel like our ancestors, our spirits on the other side, like that's what they would want to know. It's not just like
Yep.
achieving anything, it's just living.
Yep. That, and I know you and I might have to do another podcast about this, about enoughness, be
Mm,
showing up as your authentic self, because you and I talked about that off
yeah.
camera, and that's a whole topic. But yes, that it doesn't matter. It's wonderful to have goals, and part of that is your purpose. The reason we're
Mm,
writing books is because we want to share and let
mm,
others be seen and give
mm,
them some insight that might help them on their path of
mm,
thriving, healing. And that's all great. And we can aim high and we can want an agent and to be seen and to be heard and to express and to build or whatever it is we're doing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a sanitation worker or if you're a movie star. You're all equally important. Like, oh, I just got chills. We're all
mm.
valuable and
Yes.
loved. And the only reason that people show up differently in this world and why we have all of that chaos is because people don't remember that. And sometimes they
Mm,
never will until they pass. But
mm.
we are all loved, lovable, valuable, and literally, we are all one. Literally, we are all one. We are
So,
just, we are all this ball of love
yeah. So
branching off and having different experiences. But you are me, I am you. I am one with the people in prison. I'm one
mm,
with Mother Teresa. Doesn't matter who the person is. We are literally all God, whatever you want to say, God, source, love. And it may not feel that way because of life circumstances. And I know there will be people that are like, well, that's not the case for me. I've had
yeah.
it really hard. I've lived in poverty and been abused. And I know that. And it's not to sugarcoat. And yet, like you said, the world itself is magical and there's opportunity for magic. And unfortunately, not all of us get to experience
Yeah.
the best of it, but we will in some lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's like either we see it or we don't,
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier, it's like either everything's a miracle or not, or like either you're aware or you're not. And we can that's the magic is we can become aware with one deeper breath, with one pause,
Mm, that's gorgeous.
with one like, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank
Thank
you. I
I,
love talking to you.
me
Let's
too. And
definitely do another podcast.
yes, we're going to do another podcast and we're going to be friends and we're going to talk on the WhatsApp and all the things.
Yes.
But I'll have a link to your website in case anyone's interested.
Mm.
In That's mainly for your yoga and your writing and your art. I assume that all of that's covered on there. I just want to not assume, but
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I'm in the middle of writing the book and also developing a program that will include yoga and meditation. And again, just trying to help people live this because it's not easy for me to get to a yoga class
yeah.
very much. So the past few years I've just been trying to help. So it really intertwines the French culture. It's called La Femme Zen. It's also my podcast, which I'm slowly getting going, but to really like access this energy that we all are, which is this goddess type woman that is present and is yeah glowing and in the mundane activities all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Kara, thank you so much. I'm so happy we connected, and I know that it was meant to be. And I just thank you so much for showing up so vulnerably and openly to share your insight with me and my listeners. And I am so excited to share this with everyone. So thank you
Mhm.
again.
Thank you, Shannon. You're amazing.
You
And
are
I
too.
really enjoyed this.
Me too.